with Willie Banks, three-time Olympian and a man who has stayed involved in track and field and other forms of sports that can apply directly to what we're doing with Fit Kids in terms of youth fitness. So Willie, if you don't mind, can you just start off by telling us a little bit about your own athletic background and the importance of kind of fundamental fitness and activity in your early life that led into your success?
Well, fantastic. First of all, thank you very, very much for having me on. I think it's wonderful that you're doing so many things for young people. And I always believe that if you get people started off at a young age doing the right thing, that will carry with them throughout their life, not only being social and being a good citizen, but also being healthy and fit to help guide the rest of the nation as we move forward in the future. So thank God for you guys. I grew up in Southern California, and I was actually born in Fairfield. My father was a Marine, and so once we moved down to Southern California, it was just awesome because you have a lot of opportunity to get outside. It's sunny most of the time, and so I was kind of hyperactive. I guess that's what they called ADD back in the old days. And so my parents were very concerned about me. They took me to a psychiatrist, a school psychiatrist, and I went through a battery of different tests. And afterwards, the results were that, I was just hyperactive. Just throw him in some sport and it'll calm him down. And so fortunately, my father was a Marine. And so on the base, pretty much all recreation was free back then. And so I did baseball, horseback riding, golf, tennis, you name it, I was doing it. And it worked. I mean, I calmed down, I could study better, I could focus better. It's because all this energy finally was channeled into something that wasn't destructive. And I was always jumping around. And so once I found track and field, I was like, bonsai, I found it, the one thing that I can do. And they just let me jump. And I was like, this is awesome. So I started out as a high jumper and then a long jumper and then the hurdles. And then finally, when I was a junior in high school, they introduced what is called the triple jump. And the triple jump is, in the old days, was called a hop, skip, and jump. And I tried it, and just so happens that I was the best of everyone in my school who tried it. And I used to do a long hop, a short little step, and then a long jump, hop, skip, and a jump. But then, fortunately for me, my history teacher was a champion, an NC2A champion, and would have been an Olympian, only when he was really, really good, they had the war. And so he had to skip his opportunity of going to the Olympic Games because there wasn't any until 48. And by that time, he had started his family. So he came out and showed me how to really do it, 3 long jumps. And after that, no one beat me. I mean, I was the only one who knew how to do it right. So time went on. I've got to UCLA. I went through UCLA, had very, very big success there with some of the best coaches in the world. And then I became an Olympian and then a world record holder. I held that for 10 years. I kept going in administration, and track and field just became my life. So there you have my history. I am a graduate of UCLA undergrad, graduate of UCLA Law School, and a Coro Fellow. For those of you who know what that is, it's an internship in government and public service. And then I went on to serve as a board member for USA Track and Field, and now I sit on the International Federation for Track and Field, which is called World Athletics.
Fantastic. What an amazing narrative arc, life story. All started by um, needing a solution for your ADD. And there's
Exactly.
so many kids these days who have that. It's much more frequently diagnosed than it used to be. It seems like once there's a real official name for something, people start finding more of it, right?
Exactly.
But we know, and this is one of the things that we're so big on at Fit Kids. We know the effect that fitness, exercise, movement can have on kids who suffer from that, and then even kids who are just normal, energetic kids. They may not be diagnosed with ADD or ADHD or anything, but they're just squirrely because they're kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. So would you, if you can remember some of how that actually affected you, can you know, because you said you got calmer and could focus.
So here's what a lot of the things that, I mean, some of the things that happened to me. First of all, when I'd go to class, I would raise my hand every question, right? I know. And if I wasn't called on, I'd get frustrated. And then in, I think it was third grade, I used to cry. I mean, I would cry in the middle of school because, I mean, in the middle of class because they wouldn't call on me or because, just anything. I was just like, ugh. And then I was one of those tappers, everything had to be tapping, either my finger or my knee was going up and down or something was going on in my body that was moving. Then, I never really was a fighter. So I wasn't a fighter, but I was a yapper. And so I would always get in people's faces and I was pretty quick-witted. And so I was able to, pretty much uh torture people with my mouth, right? And I was fast enough to get away if they attacked me. So uh there was, I guess all of that was leading to sort of a destructive attitude, and I needed to calm down, and my parents saw that. I mean, I would come home and I would be jumping on things and over things and breaking things accidentally, and my parents were they just couldn't have it anymore. So finally they had to give up, and they said, "What is wrong with this child?" And thankfully they found a psychiatrist who I guess had a lot of experience with kids and understood that it wasn't drugs. It was just me being a kid and needing to get rid of some of that over energy that I had. It was just too much, and it needed to get used.
So many kids these days, especially in underserved communities, lack the opportunity for that. A lot of their schools don't have physical education programs. If they do, they're pretty inferior facilities or equipment, not enough space, not a dedicated teacher, and then sometimes in neighborhoods that don't have safe play spaces, adequate playground facilities, and the like. Can you talk about just the importance in general of correcting that situation so that kids can be healthier?
Yeah, well, this is something that has always been pretty near to my heart. I mean, I volunteer as much as I can to go and go to the schools in the neighborhood and try and be an assistant coach, so that I at least am there and able to help assist with the kids. And I've done soccer, I've done track and field, I've done softball. I just want to be able to assist. And it got to a point for me where I started coming up with games. And I created a game, especially in softball, where the kids were having trouble, and it's a bunch of girls, of course, and I got to a point where I said to myself, you can use this energy for good, and we can change people's attitudes about what is going on. So for instance, a lot of times the girls would be sitting there and be looking away, or they were focused in a way that was not being creative and not being sport-like. So I finally got to a point where I thought I would use some of the skills that I had learned as a professional athlete on these girls. So I created a game where I would drop like a pencil or something, and they would have to catch it. And what happens is most people will focus on the pen, right? Me, I never focused on the pen because I knew that your subconscious mind was much faster than your conscious mind. So once I did that, I got some of the girls who were the least focused, and we did that for a while. And the head coach caught on to it and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just helping them concentrate." So we started practicing this. Our team went from the worst in the league to the 8th best in the state because the girls stopped focusing on trying to hit the ball and just let their subconscious hit the ball. So that was something that I thought, okay, so that's something cool. Maybe we can add that to a lot of different sports, a lot of different areas of play. And as you were saying, we need more facilities, but we also need more trained coaches who understand that the art of sport is like the art of play for kids. It should be the art of play that leads to sport. And if we understand that, coaches will understand that you don't just need a facility like a softball facility. You can use other facilities. There's a beach, there's a mountain, there's a field, there's this, there's that. We need to utilize that. And secondly, we need to bring more people to the community. So what I've tried to do in my small little community is I go out and I call my friends, the Olympians, and I say, "Hey, look, we're going to go to this school and we're going to do a camp, a 2-day camp. We're going to teach them how to do track and field. But rather than just teaching the kids, or rather than just teaching the coaches, we're going to teach them both together. So we're going to coach the kids and have the coaches there watching how we treat the kids and how we coach the kids. And in that way, they will learn. And oh, by the way, we want the parents there too. So the parents can also be a part of this, and they can relive perhaps what they usually try to live through their kids, their old time as track and field athletes, right? And they can enjoy and learn. And what that'll do is it will re-engage them into the community of sport, right? So they'll have more of an interest in seeing a better facility. They'll have an understanding of why that facility is important, why their kids are going to benefit. So I can't really express to you much more than to say that if we don't continue to bring the community together to understand the 3 things that are most powerful for a young person, and that is your family, your education, and your community together, then we're not going to be successful. And so those are the things that I've been working on just in my personal community. And I'm hoping that I know others are trying to do the same thing, and we just need to keep pushing.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Underlying so much of what you said and fascinating about the pencil exercise that you introduced. That's fascinating. Underneath all of that is a melding of mind and body. And I'm hoping that you'll talk a little bit about how you see that working, maybe how it worked for you and how you see that working for kids, and how the mutual benefit when body can benefit mind and mind can benefit body.
Well, I hope you don't mind, but I want to add one more piece to that, because I grew up in a family that was a fairly large family. I mean, there was 5 kids, mommy and daddy. So that's 7 of us. and we weren't in no means rich or anything like that. My father, like I said, was a Marine, but but I had my father being a Marine, he taught us structure. It was unbelievable. You know, Saturdays, no sleep, get up, clean the yard, you know, pick those grapes or whatever it was that we were doing, you know. And so growing up, I had to decide how I was going to grow up. And my parents led me to believe that I needed some kind of structure to my life. And when I was in, I think it was early years in high school, we started studying about the Middle Ages, and we started to talk about Reformation and things like that. And I noted that one of the main themes was mind, the body, and the soul, right? And I said, you know what, that should be like a central theme for me, because I wanted to be, it's funny, I wanted to be the Renaissance man, right? The Renaissance man, learn a lot and be, you know, create a lot. And so I really got excited about that. And mind, body, and soul became my theme. And maybe it's because 3 was my favorite number, right? Because I'm William Augustus Banks the third. I was born in March. I do the triple jump. So I thought 3, this is perfect, right? So what I did, you know, I had always been a faithful person. I believed in faith in my God. And I worked hard on my studies. I knew that I wanted to go to law school and I couldn't fail there. I also knew that if I wanted to be successful, I had to be strong, and that would lead to me being able to outlast the stresses and tensions of being a human being. And I was very fortunate to be successful in my sport. That I can't tell you how blessed I am about that. That has led to so much, including, you know, paying for all of my education, even through law school, and also being able to serve the Lord in so many different ways. So in terms of young people, I never want to dissuade them from being the best they can, but I want them to always have a structure for how they intend to be successful. And that could be anything, and we can talk about it all they want. You know, they don't have to be like me, but they have to have some kind of system to be successful. And I always say, look, that can be, you know, you should always think about your mind, your body, and your spirit, your soul, whatever that is. And hopefully a lot of people have had some success with that. So I'm glad. I don't want this to be a religious thing, because I don't think it is religion. I think it is spirit. And I think you find power, even if it's in yourself, you find this power, this spirit. And in order to be successful, you need to have patience. You need to have determination. You need to be dedicated. That doesn't come from your mind, body, as much as it comes from the spirit. I can be as smart as I want to be. I can be, you know, a genius. But if I don't have what it takes to last, to persevere, to be dedicated, I'm not going to be successful. And that comes from your spirit, your belief in you, your belief in something bigger than you. That's where that comes from. I'm a true believer in that.
Got it. Well said, sir. Well said. Where does just actual movement fit into this as the child is developing?
Wow. Well, movement, of course, is part of the body, and it can be part of the mind. But it's important to make sure that people, not just youth, but everyone, continues to move. I have this saying that, and I'm sure you've heard this: motion is lotion. It's more important when you get older. But what people fail to understand is even young people that don't move, they start to lose their ability to move, right? That could be they get so big and obese that they can't move. They become so crippled that they can't move. So to have kids get out and move is an incredible thing. And it can be as simple as walking. I helped create a program that got tens of thousands of kids walking every day. We also created a walk to London right before the London Games. And what that was is we thought, well, how many miles was it between Los Angeles Games and what would happen in London? So how far is it from LA to London? And we said, okay, so we want to do these walks all over the country, having Olympians lead these walks, and then see how many miles that would be. Well, we got people walking. There was so many people walking over so many miles that we were able to wrap around the earth 3 times. I mean, it was an amazing thing.
Wow.
And that is critical. We also had, like I said, this other program where kids were competing against kids in, well, schools were competing against schools in terms of this walking. And all they do is they would go out for recess, they could walk around the track and they would add it up. And then we created another piece where if the teacher walked with you, you got extra points, or if your parents walked with you, you got half of their points too. And so we had so many people walking, and we gave out medals to all the kids from all these schools around the country. And we saw from the studies that were done, we had in terms of kid retention and a kid's attention span in classes just blew up from just walking.
Mm-hmm.
So movement is not only motion is lotion, but I think movement is mind creative or focus, right? It helps with focus.
Now, you have gone on to compete in masters events, and you know what you took in as a young child obviously never left you. It seems to be very central to your life, and that's something that we would love to see. Obviously, as the children that we serve grow older, grow into adults, have their own children, and perpetuate all of this fitness. Let's talk a little bit about the role of parents and community. You talked before about getting that community together to make sure that the facilities were what they needed to be and that the kids were focused on that. What are some other things that parents and other adults in the community can be doing to really ingrain fitness as a value in kids?
Well, I think we have to start off with actually talking to kids about it, and then the parents need to talk about it to their kids. The parents also need to actually walk, and that's what we create when we created the walk program for kids. We added parents so that the kids had an example, and it gave the opportunity for the kids and the parents to talk, because it's not often, parents are really busy. So we knew the importance of having parents with their kids and walking, and how that will serve them for generations. The other thing I think is important is that what we don't have in, it seems like, the American culture as much as they have in other cultures, is we don't have this idea that parents should be sport oriented. In other words, I lived in Japan for 3 years. I was coaching and teaching at a university in central Japan. And they had, in their schools, they have like a sports day where the parents come to school and they watch their kids run and do all these different gymnastics and events. And then the parents had to participate. I went out and I did the relay with my kids, and oh my God, it was fun and it was creative, and I really enjoyed it. And I think what that does is, and it's really important, by the way, people in the community thought this is an important thing because they didn't want to embarrass their kids. And so they really worked out and they made sure they were in good enough shape to run at least around the track once. So that really that to me showed me that sport can create a community, and it can make a community stronger and more close-knit. So that's why when I came back here to the United States, I thought I could use some of those ideas here in the United States. And hopefully some of the things that I've done thus far reflects that. Whether we can get that to be, nationwide, I don't know. But in my community, I know we've already established quite a good relationship with parents.
Cool. If you were to speak directly to the kids, and let them know what your wishes are for them, especially as regards physical fitness, what might some of that message sound like?
I believe that sport and physical fitness should be fun. When you're young, it should be fun. You should enjoy it. Don't think that running is the only thing you can do. Don't think that gymnastics is the only thing, or swimming, or anything like that. There are so many things that you can do to have fun and exercise your body, no matter what the size of your body is, no matter what. Even if you can't walk, you can do exercise. Even if you can't lift, you can do exercise. And make it fun for yourself. Don't try to be a professional athlete when you're 10 years old. You got to learn first. So I always emphasize skills first, drills second, and fun third, right? But you can put fun in the beginning. It's always you've got to enjoy it, or else you won't continue to do it.
That's great. Let's talk for a sec also about just what it was like for you to be an Olympian, represent the country, be on the scene. And I know you couldn't go to Moscow because of the boycott. But if you could kind of encompass your Olympic experience and see what meaning did that have to the young Willie Banks who had grown into that.
I think that anyone who in their childhood had the opportunity to watch the Olympic Games or the World Series or the World Cup or any international and global sport on television or through modern media, they get super inspired. And that's a wonderful thing. I also think that inspiration will continue to grow if they have the support of their family, friends, and community. And so it's so important that we continue to do this. And then finally, if it wasn't for programs like Fit Kids, My Camps, Walk to London, there wouldn't be the ability for families to find sport that may fit their kid. And so we need these programs. We need them to be strong. We need them to be flexible, and we need them to be promoted so that we can continue to have a nation that is moving towards health and fitness, because without healthier and fit citizenry, we will no longer be strong. So I truly believe that, and I hope that others will take that up and continue to move forward.
We've got just a couple minutes left, and I want to give you a chance to say any last words that you may have on any of the topics we've discussed, or just kind of share a little bit of inspiration with our audience, if you like.
A lot of people, when they hear this and they talk to you about Fit Kids, they're always wanting to lead to becoming their kid becoming a professional athlete, or their kids becoming an Olympian or something like that. It's good to have that as a way to motivate maybe parents to do something, but it is not the end all and be all. If I was never an Olympian, I would still have a fantastic life because I'm healthy, I'm fit, I'm 66 years old. I can still set world records. I can still compete at a high level. I continue to dance and to do things that maybe are not ordinary for a person my age. And I think the reason why I'm able to do this is because I never stop moving and I never stop loving what I do. I don't do track because, I had to. I did track because I loved it. And if you ever get a chance to watch my videos, you'll see me having fun with my headphones on, dancing around, because it was like Disneyland every time I was out on the field and jumping with my competitors. I wasn't trying to beat them. I was trying to beat me and have a good time doing it. Whenever I started running down the runway, if you ever see my face, I always had a smile on, because the first thing I said before I started my run was, "Hope I'm funny," and I would take off. And that's the way I lived my professional athletic life, and I think it served me well even to today, where I go to Zumba 5 days a week and I dance and enjoy the people around me and joke and keep a smile on my face. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about what I love. I wish you and Fit Kids the best of luck. I think you're doing a great job. And if I can do any more, please don't hesitate to call me in. I'm one of your soldiers.
Thank you so much, Willie. That's beautifully said and much appreciated. And now you've opened yourself up to another future conversation about some of these things for sure.
Great.
Really appreciate your time today, and been very inspirational. Cannot wait to share this with our audience.